Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday Express right here on Galaxy Universal Network, channel 500 on Star Set. Nakalibitso ke rorisa ngwana a tshwana ene ka jeno ha ke mong ke tsamaya le the voice himself, but I will let him introduce himself. Yeah.
Hello everybody, the name is Harmony Mpelu. Upele khulu nontanda udlambulula ngalokulunga ombitho mbikazo sompisi ondaba ezitha kanjalo nje. Hello everybody right there on Facebook, on Galaxy Universal Network, even there man on channel 500. We see you, we recognize Africa at its most, bring you great content.
Of course, like already, you just always.
I mean, me and you always do this. I mean, we serve the people what they want. I mean, look at you,
angel and the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batini, the white and the black, together we are power. You can't tell. I'm the candle, I'm that black thing that burns out, and you are the light.
As we move on to realize before you just put
absolutely.
Now the city of Johannesburg deploys over 1.5 patrollers to fight land invasions.
And the executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg, Jeff Makubo, and MMC for Public Safety, Meli Mukwena, visited the Randburg Licensing Department to thank the employees that are working there.
Yes, and then on our next story, the TVET student encourages women to venture in engineering.
And the third beautiful story is the World Health Organization held a virtual Q&A on mental health and COVID-19.
And of course, for the special feature that I enjoy most on our Midday Express show, today we are joined by a very incredible individual, who is an entrepreneur as well. I'm so looking forward to that.
Young black entrepreneur. Listen to that. We are all the black Bill Gates in the making.
Oh, no, I'm so looking forward to that interview because we really need to start inspiring young black women out there.
Absolutely.
It's possible.
And not only just in August, man, so that we just pioneer and allow them to know that they are great regardless of it being August, and they are powerful. They should proclaim their power every single day wherever they are. So Nonhlanhla is doing that exceptionally well.
Yes, and we're going to get into that a bit later. Just moving on into the first story of the day. Now the city of Johannesburg Executive Mayor Jeff Makubo and the Gauteng MEC for Human Settlements, Lebogang Maile, alongside other city leaders have launched the Anti-Land Invasion Unit in Lenasia. Now the strategy to combat land grabs will be supplemented by the city intensifying the full rollout of the Rapid Land Response Program, which will give residents a serviced stand to build themselves houses. Now, through this program, it is projected that about 21,000 beneficiaries will benefit. Makubo yesterday was speaking with the members of the community in Soweto, and he sent a strong message to those that embark on land invasion. Now, let's just take a look at that.
And I'm sending a warning, because from now till October, till the end of this project, a total of 21,000 qualifying beneficiaries will be allocated. Here. A further mega project will be in Lufering. And those who are occupying land illegally, you are going to find our wrath, because we're going to take you toe to toe. And let me promise you one thing, you're going to lose, you're not going to lose. You who think that you can sit in your shack, whether in Loli, or you can sit here right here in Soweto and occupy every space, we are coming for you. And the face, Koko, who's been waiting for a house, her voice must be heard. Not the voice of the invaders who think that because there are cameras and there's anarchy, their only voices are the only ones to be heard.
Just speaking on that, Harmony, now it actually says right on the government website that the government has a constitutional duty to ensure where required and with available resources that all citizens can enjoy their basic rights to access to land and to housing. And where a large-scale invasions occur, government has a similar duty to assist the private landowners to protect their land. So meaning that if you privately own the land, if anybody's invading that land, like they can
But yeah,
have
man,
the right to.
that's the tricky part where I think we find our government where the land is not even for the people, but it's a constitutional right.
Yes.
Then where is the land that is for the people? Now, that's the question that we should ask. With the land being given to the people yet again, where is it? Where does it come from? If we are always complaining, saying that there is no land, there isn't this, and the people can't go out and grab the land, then where is the land? We're not promoting that it is right.
Yes.
Looking at what happened in the other video that trended with the man that was, you know, neglected and put aside by the police.
Yes.
Victimized is the word to that by the police. What are your takes on that? Because it was also a land case issue.
But here's the thing. Yabona manje ukuthi now they are actually giving land to the people. 21 beneficiaries. I mean 21,000 beneficiaries. So they're saying the land is the government, right? So they have the duty to now give it to the people. So I feel like the problem here is people just, you know, putting up imikuku on the land that's not rightfully given to them, because then we're going to have issues like that. Manje, ukuthi manje, socially you're comfortable back keep manje endlini yakho, and then what happens to you afterwards? Because it also mentions ukuthi if you are, you know, ukuthi abantu apply for izindlu and stuff, your RTPs and stuff like that. So if maybe you are in need of a house, then you have to go through diligent procedures, proper procedures.
Greatest question is, will there be service delivery in these places? Will there be water? Will there be electricity? Are we going to find the same communities that the government is giving 21,000 beneficiaries to these houses? Will they be able to give water, electricity, and everything, man? What is really going to be happening?
But Nakona Futi, just going back to that, we know Wuti, there are certain parts of lands. You have some that you can actually build on, as in you can't. So at the end of the day, Futi, we can't really blame the government. Maman Susa, but this land you cannot build on.
Yes.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, they're actually doing it for your own good.
True.
Absolutely. At the end of the day. So I think it's just to avoid having to be evicted. And unfortunately,
would you build? Would you take the houses that the government is giving if you were in desperate need of a house?
I mean, if
personally, you.
I know what's the match. I know even in Tembisa they were actually using new technologies to actually build brand new homes. So I feel like what's the match, even the material that they're using advanced and stuff. I mean, like if how many? I mean, we have a lot of people who do not have
housing.
Yes,
and I just hope it's close to town or to cities where people where the schools are going to be built, and not just homes, where the community can benefit. Related find schools, at least a shopping mall, or close to the city where they can work and actually find means to grow that community that is going to be built in whichever part of South Africa that is going to be built.
But then just going back, they actually say babapa umhlaba. They actually give them the land to actually build on. So my thing is, Nakona, where will they get the money to actually get the material to build the houses? Because at the end of the day, I feel like Nakona, you will have, you know, your informal settlements being built again on that land.
Yeah, that's like a very hectic one. That then what does the community do? What do you do as a human being? It's a tricky one. But tricky go rough, go tense.
You're given the land and now you don't know how to
the money. Are you working? Are you employed? How many kids do you have? Is it kid friendly? I mean, oh man, there's a lot to be considered with that one.
A lot indeed. Just moving on into our second story.
Our second story, man, is the executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg, Jeff Makubo, and the MEC for public safety, Mandli Mukwena, visited the Randburg licensing department to engage and thank the license directorate employees for being in service for the people of Johannesburg. He thanked those that were in the front line when the president announced a state of disaster, and they raised their hands and said, "Tuma mina when a president Cyril Ramaphosa." We are tumega when.
Must be.
Let's take a look at this clip.
Service of the people that I thought I must come from what I call the high office of the mayor, to come and extend a hand of gratitude, to come and say thank you to yourselves for being in service of the people, especially because on a daily basis you're on the front line engaging with our communities, needing services from them. Then you can ask the question, why do you spend time got up astray to come and thank the fish for swimming? And it's not like that. You have to recognize when good work is done. You have to recognize that people go out of their way to do work, especially those after the national state of disaster was declared by the president, who, when we called others to come and work, they raised their hand and said to Mamingo, at great risk to themselves, great risk to their families. They spent no energy, they spent no leave, but they were in service of our people in the front line. In the fight against an invisible enemy, a very novel coronavirus that's devastated the world and has devastated Johannesburg, which is the epicenter of Gauteng, and it's got very high numbers in the country. And we thought during those difficult times, during the COVID times, with those level 2, we must come and say to you, thank you very much for the hard work, and thank you very much for being in service of our people, the people of Johannesburg. We've been on a roadshow in the Public Safety Department, engaging with your colleagues, uniformed and ununiformed, sending the same message.
Well, on that note, we're still talking about the frontline workers and them not only being nurses, but also in the licensed department sector. What are your thoughts on that one?
I really feel like, I would say, during these times, we need to acknowledge everybody who's been in the front line. You know, it's not just your nurses. When we understand what they're working directly to the patients, but you have, you know, people in the licensing department, your police people that are actually also making sure
people trying to get their driver's license, people trying to get the learners. They are actually doing an amazing job even at that department, even noticing them a lot of their visibility on the road.
Exactly.
And it's like a commendable job that they're putting themselves on the line, you know?
Yeah, and just making sure the roads are roadworthy, and making sure you know, traveling wise now we are safe on the roads as well.
Drinking and driving does not even take place.
Exactly.
Let's mention that. You know, they are always there for us, making sure that they are actually keeping our roads very safe.
And I really think it's a good thing to actually go back to the people who are actually serving us at the end of the day, because I mean, now, but they've got families, they've got people, and to make sure, I mean, to actually ensure every other citizen is actually well taken care of as well. It's really, really beautiful, and I really commend, you know, the government to actually go back and say, we see you, we thank you, and we really appreciate you.
It's not just an easy job. I think we've always looked at the policing, the Metro Police as, it's an easy job, but now it's really saying that they're in the front lines and they are really taking care of every human being on the road who has a working permit, who doesn't have a working permit, but they are there to make sure that everybody gets there safely and that all road procedures are being followed. People are wearing their masks in their cars if traveling with 2 or more people within it. So that is beautiful. That's
beautiful indeed. Talking about beautiful things, we're going to go for a quick ad break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking to a beautiful Nonhlanhla Pule, who is a very, very young entrepreneur. I'm really looking forward to this interview. But stay tuned. We'll be back right here on the Midday Express.
Experience the extraordinary.
Feeling is there that, you know, you're doing something special.
Have you lost it? Move! Stop being so dramatic, Mira. Challenge your ordinary.
Why don't you start a dance class?
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat. Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset.
Absolutely beautiful! This is exactly what I was looking for! DJ Khaled!
It is
is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action.
I like it when it's nice and soft. Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what it is.
Feeling is there that, you're doing something special.
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat. Experience the extraordinary.
I like you, girl, in particular.
Yeah, you got that young.
Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Galaxy News. Thank you very much for joining us right here on the Galaxy Midday Express on Galaxy Universal Network. And today we are joined by an amazing guest by the name of Nonhlanhla Pule, who's an entrepreneur, a social activist for women's rights, and also first-year student at the University of Johannesburg. She's an incredible young lady all the way from the East Rand, Katlehong. Hello, Nonhlanhla, how do you do?
Hi, Harmony. I'm okay. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. Thank you very much for honoring the invite and being with us today.
It's a pleasure.
So Nonhlanhla, like, I'm still shocked. You are 18 years of age and you are doing such amazing things. Just tell us a little bit about you and how you grew up, and then how you actually ended up being where you are today.
Well, okay. So I think my journey started when I was in grade 7. And I remember this other time there was a lot of program going on at school, and my father was really strict. So he was one person who didn't understand why we needed to sala after school and do other things, right? So I remember that other time he was like, you're not going to participate in this particular program. And the reason is I don't want my child coming late after school, yabo. And then I remember when I went to high school, fortunately, they took me to a school that's nearby my house, like 5 minutes walk. And it became a lot easier because then he couldn't make an excuse of me coming late because I was like near the school. And I remember the first thing that I did when I got to high school was join the debating team, which I think is the one that legit opened up all the other things for me and like allowed me to explore myself and the things that I really want with my life. And I remember one thing that debating led me in is to the idea of like social welfare. For starters, we would like work with Love Life at the local level in terms of like doing campaigns on unwanted pregnancy when it was like a still big thing. And it went on. We worked with another project called Zohangi Project, which works specifically with people that are abusing drugs and stuff like that. So we'd always do those things, right? And I think eventually those things legit told me that Nonhlanhla, this is the woman you are becoming. This is the person that you need to embrace, and this is the person you actually need to work on. And yeah, I think I remember this other time when I was in grade 10, a group of friends and I were elected for RCL, right? And the biggest thing for us was, guys, we can't be RCL for that particular year that it ends there. We ought to leave something, right? Because I think that like the hugest thing with being RCL at high school level, you genuinely think that you need to go around telling people that you are the president of the school or the treasurer, and then it ends there. So we really felt like there is an idea of a little bit of consistency and sustainability right there. And I think the idea of always wanting to leave a mark and sort of to motivate others really like told me a lot in terms of engaging other people and being the woman that I actually am today.
Oh wow, Nonhlanhla, that is such a beautiful journey, a story, might I add. But for me, I'm questioning it. 18 years old, very young, very bold, and very self-aware of the decisions that you're taking within your life. Question is, were you always this confident as a young woman? Growing up in the township, have you always known what to say, when to say it, when to speak, and all those other things?
I don't think so. I think specifically for me, the things that I've underwent legit made me the person that I am. I don't think I was born someone who's confident and stuff like that. And I'm saying this because I remember when I was in primary, there was a huge thing that Nonhlanhla is actually shy. But I remember when I got to high school and I started becoming part of the debating team, a lot of things changed, right?
Yes.
And I think obviously in terms of like growth, it's not something that you can legit say it's gonna happen. I never thought that one day I'll be here being that outspoken, opinionated person. I always thought that Nonhlanhla is just the shy person and then it ends there. But I do think that like as you grow older, I think somehow your passion and what you want to be aligns with you. I think it legit finds you and it legit places you in that particular position where you can't really refuse being that person who are destined to be.
So I just want to know how you actually found your voice. You say you were this shy person, but how and where was that turning point where you found your voice and actually just now started becoming this Nonhlanhla that we know of today?
I'm going to speak about someone who's important in my life. His name is Utise Zongonde. And obviously at that time when I was part of the debating team, I was really scared and I was just like, okay, let me just do it anyway, because at that time it was the only extracurriculum that we had and I wanted to do something outside of like academics. And I remember participated in this particular competition. It was just that. It was just the shy Nonhlanhla trying to like find her place and whatnot, you know. And then I think a week afterwards, this guy who was there at that competition came to school and he told a lot of people that he's looking for me. And I remember meeting him and I was like, they told me, Uti, you are looking for me. What is happening? And then he told me that while you were speaking, I was ignited. While you were speaking, I felt like you were one of the people that would like change the world and stuff like that. And at that point, I remember I really felt like I possessed enough power to be whoever that I want to be. And I think those words specifically stuck with me and continue to remind me of like the potential that I have and the potential change that I can like bring to the society.
Oh, wow, man. That is absolutely beautiful. And I think, Nonhlanhla, for me, you mentioned something very beautiful that you didn't get to touch on, and which was the hurdles that you overcame, the things that happened in your life that built your character, the woman that you are today, only 18 years old. I'd like you to mention a few of those things in depth. What were those things that you actually went past, that you looked at and you said, I stand today because of those incidents. I stand today because of what I've been through. And what are those things?
I remember in high school, I had a very strict teacher. Like for some weird reason, everyone I was surrounded with was very strict and like protective of me. And this particular teacher, this other time we went to a competition, came back really late and my father was panicking and he started calling the teacher. Then I remember coming back to school the next day, I was called to her office and I was shouted at, like legit shouted at that, yay. You know when someone shouts at you, like, that was how hectic it was. And I remember going back to my class teacher and I'm like, you know what? I'm deciding to leave debate because I don't think that I'll be able to coexist in a space where I'm not treated like right and where I'm continuously like shouted at and stuff like that. And I remember what Mbujika said. Mbujika said to me, if you really, really love debates and if you really, really love these other engagements, then you ought to stay there even though other people don't appreciate you, even though other people don't receive you the way that you would love to be received. And I think that was like the turning points in my life that could legit told me that in life, not everybody's going to receive you the way that you want to be received, right? And given that, that should tell you that you need to keep going because legit, no one is for you, even if they are those people that obviously be people who were just saying, would see, oh, Nonhlanhla, this is who she is, but I think this is who she should be. And I think that was like legit one of the things that like grew me and made me to the person that I am, right? And I remember also this other time how we were RCL, we would go to the principal's office and there were like a lot of things in terms of management and stuff like that. You know how township schools are, right? So we would continuously go to the office and ask them, you said that you'll be doing this. You said that this will be delivered. It's not there. What's happening? And I remember this other time the principal was so angry at us because we confronted him and he was like, you guys are really disrespectful. You guys don't understand that there is an older person and stuff like that. And our response, I remember very well, was that you can't really call yourself an adult and not expect other people like to do the things that you want to do, right? We think that an adult is an adult because of responsibility, and we don't think that it's justified for you as an adult not to be corrected even though you're wrong on the basis that you are an adult. And I remember from that day specifically, I learned that trade, and till this day I can't really keep quiet about injustices, although they are done by people that I love and people that I look up to. That's legit one thing I can't keep quiet about. And I remember also getting into varsity, there was like a lot of risk culture, and I felt like it was toxic. And I remember approaching the leadership and I'm like, guys, listen, if you guys want us to do things because they are culture but they're still toxic, then I'm not up for that. And I think that's legit one thing that made me the person that I am and stand up in terms of grooming myself to be the woman that I actually want to be.
No, that's really amazing. Now, I read on your profile that you're actually part of the UNICEF Youth Advocacy. Now, just tell us a little bit more about that and what it actually entails.
Oh, so that one was like an easy task type of thing. So it was just an opportunity. It was just like if you were part of a program and you were helping in your community in terms of doing what this and this and this, please just tell us how you did it. So they gave us like a set of questions, and I think we had to write about 2,000 words where you tell us what you did, how you did it, how did you mobilize, who did you work with, how did you get funds and stuff like that. So I wrote that on behalf of the project that I was working for at that time, which was Suhang Teens Corner. And when we wrote that, I wrote that and then I submitted it to UNICEF. However, they also had to like understand whether this is helpful to like young people, because the main reason why they wanted us to write those stories was because they wanted to create a guide, and that guide seeks to help people that are upcoming to create societal change in their communities, right? So yeah, that was just it. It was just like, write this thing, and then there was a follow-up where they would ask you further questions if they're especially interested in the stuff that you do. And I remember last year, I wrote it around January. I think it was 2018 or 2019, I'm really not sure. And I only got a response in July to say that you guys will be featured in the Youth Advocacy Guide. And I was really humble because it's like an international thing, right? And I felt like this means whatever that we're trying to do really is working, and someone else sees the impact that we're trying to bring into the society. And also, it also meant me being able to mentor other people indirectly, right? Instead of me being with them face to face, they could just read the guide and feel like they can be able to bring about societal change.
Thank you very much. You are speaking so much power, and I'm literally listening to you and thinking that there are other initiatives that you're part of, and the initiatives you do, like the Power Circle that you do, where you engage with young people on Zoom. What other initiatives that you're part of and projects?
So currently I'm doing like legit two things. I'm the content creator for Sun Live Chats with Udumelo M, which is also a platform that brings in guests every now and then to talk about anything that what young people feel like they need to know. So for example, this week we are discussing about societal things and what it means to be part of a society. The other time we're discussing being black and having dreams and stuff like that. And the other project that I'm working on, I think, which is something that is really close to my heart, is the Power Circle. And I was telling Harmony the other day, I'm like, Harmony, I want us to create a power group where we as young people are able to inspire each other and motivate each other. And I think that is what the group specifically like came into. And I remember this other time we're speaking with Harmony and other friends, and we're like, guys, the power is within us. And what I really love about that group is that it creates a safe space for us to engage as young people. And I think also very important to this is to bring in the idea of social media anxiety and what it does to young people. And I think what Power Circle really is telling us as young people that, listen, even though the social media part of things may not accept your opinion or may not accept what you're saying, but we strongly believe that we are young people and we can engage with respect, right? Which is something that you don't get from social media. And I think that has been the hugest thing with Power Circles. It was just like, Nontlanta, you need to create a platform where you can safely engage with others without the fear of being attacked personally, right? And I think that is what it's been doing. And another thing that a friend of mine came up with was also doing clothing drives through the very same Power Circle. And I think that is our first project that we look forward to like doing.
That is so amazing. Now, Mina, just in closing, I just want us to talk about what do you have to say to that child, wasekasi? You know, that's just, you know, sometimes the kasi mentality, and you have so many people that have not achieved anything in life. So what message do you have to that child, that thinks they amount to nothing?
I think one thing that I always love to say is that our journeys are different, and what our journeys want us to be is entirely something that is different to all of us. And I think the greatest power is not into looking what Nonhlanhla does and being exactly what Nonhlanhla is or what Nonhlanhla is trying to be. The greatest power is understanding the power that you have within yourself and becoming the person that you actually want to be. And I think living in townships where you know that like the environment is not even conducive and it's really hard for you to look at role models, I think that child should just know that if you want to be a role model and if you would like to see role models, you need to become that very same role models, because chances are a lot of other kids also want to be role models. And it was my thing with while I was in high school, speaking with Wanele, I'm like, Wanele, listen, now the life that we are living is not only about us. For some weird reason, someone is watching Harmony and saying, one day I want to look like Harmony. So at a point at which Harmony or I as Nonhlanhla that does not do something that like ignites that, we're also failing that child. And I think that's really important to say that that child needs to understand that it's within her, the power lies within her. And no one else can come and say you need to be precisely like Nonhlanhla. You just need to be yourself. That's what the world needs. Like there has been a lot of harmonies, there has been a lot of Nonhlanhlas, but what we genuinely need now, specifically in South Africa, is for people to be who they really want to be and to coexist in the society. And I think what's really important for me is once we have been able to infiltrate those spaces that we want to be part of, is to understand the moral obligation that we have towards our society, which is trying and bringing back the others.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much, Nonhlanhla Pule, for joining us today right here on Galaxy Universal Network. Thank you very much for your time and your story. Thank you for continuously touching multitudes of people throughout the world through the initiatives, the work, and how powerfully you speak to only find out that you're only 18 years of age, all the way from Katlehong, a township, you know, K1 representing all the time. Thank you very much for honoring.
Just before we close, I just want you to just tell us where can people get a hold of you and all the beautiful programs that you do.
I'm really not into social media, but I can leave my email address if that makes sense. It's nonhlanhla91@gmail.com, like Nonhlanhla and then Butselo, which is BOTSHELO91@gmail.com.
All right, no, thank you so much, Nonhlanhla, and all the best with all your future endeavors.
Thank you for having me.
That is just so amazing to have such young, inspirational women right today. Now let's just go for a quick break right here on the Midday Express, and we'll be back with more stories. Don't you go anywhere.
Experience the extraordinary.
I like you, girl, in particular.
Smooth criminal. Yeah, you got that young.
Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary with Starsat.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Thank you very much. Welcome back from the ad break, and you are still watching Midday Express with myself, Harmony Mpele, and the beautiful, gorgeous lady herself, Rosangwana Hwatswane. And we're still continuing giving you guys the latest stories that are breaking and headlines. We're joined by Nonhlanhla Pule, a young woman from Katlehong. If you missed that, then make sure that you catch the video posted live on Facebook after the show. Right now, let's take a look at your headlines.
Now, moving into the story now is that in celebration of Technical and Vocational Education and Training Month, Marcia Makwenya studied at TVET College, and she speaks on how it helped her and changed her life. Now, she is now a facilitator in the engineering industry and has produced and continues to produce artisans through her work. She encourages fellow women to be courageous and venture in studying engineering and taking a lead in the engineering industry. Let's have a look.
My name is Marcia Makwenya. I'm 28 years old of age. I was born in Bushbuckridge at Bethel. After completing my grade 12 in 2009, I came to Witbank to further my studies, where I've registered with TVET College. I've registered electrical engineering from N2 up until N6. After completing my N6, I got an opportunity of becoming an apprentice with Transport Engineering. After completing that as a qualified artisan, I got an opportunity to become a facilitator in engineering industry. So I'm producing artisans as I'm sitting here today. So what I'm trying to say to you, the message that I'm bringing to you is that being a woman doesn't put boundaries to who you want to become, but it's determined by who you want to be tomorrow. Okay, sitting here advising and encouraging women out there that let's do it. There are shortage of women in the industries there. Those industries are not for men. Even women can do it. I've got experience, I've been there. So let's do it. Let's go register engineering studies. Let's become artisans. Let's stand for ourselves. Let's wear those safety boots. Let's join the queue of the men's day. I'm saying to you guys, skilling the nation for excellency, it's what we need to stand up for as a woman. Ta-da!
I guess it's actually beautiful to actually be encouraging women to actually go after what they want. I mean, we know with your engineering industries and your spaces were mainly male dominated too. So to actually have women saying, you know what, this is the space to actually take over.
Yes, this is the time, you know, when our Miss Universe was Bini Tunzi said, the time is now, take up space.
True.
And I feel like women really took that and they heard it. And even in the engineering space, they are walking in, demanding, not even demanding, they're walking in and really asserting that we are here, recognize us, and also empowering young women to take up engineering in university so that they know it's a beautiful career to be in and to stand their position. It's very beautiful. Would you allow your daughter to take engineering?
Of course, I'd allow my daughter to do anything. Like you said, the world is ours to take over. And I feel like because from Abokokobe to our mothers, I think they were taught as a wife or
you
as
are
a woman,
submissive,
you're
you do this,
all
you don't do that.
You cook, you be a mother, and you know, I think generations have changed. We know we can do anything and everything we want to do. Conquer the world, right? But another thing also, I always urge you would say we must stop competing with men. We're not trying to compete. We must be our own individuals and actually pursue what we want to do, because I am Rorisang and I'm a woman and I know I'm powerful in my own right, and not necessarily just to show how many I can do it better than him.
Yes, and you are powerful in your own right. I give you that all the time. You show up and you really do profoundly amazing work. And man, let's take a look at the next story. Minister of Health, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, said on Wednesday that the country has now passed the infection point and now was now showing a downward trend. Whereas the numbers are approaching 600,000 cases, we do not know that there will be people that who are positive in the country. He said, sorry about that. He said that he said that the country has now passed 12,000 deaths, which was a very high number in terms of the lost numbers of lives. There are diseases that cause worse challenges than that, he said.
And let's just link into the video right there where he actually just touches on those points.
all of which we now are beginning to reverse. It's important for us as well to say we're having this discussion at a point where we believe that South Africa is in a way, moving past the point of the peak of the pandemic. We believe we've gone beyond the inflection point, whereas the numbers are approaching 600,000 of positive cases. We do know that there'll be more people than that who are positive in the country, but we also have our mortality at 12,264, which we believe is a very high number in terms of loss of lives, but at the same time, there are diseases that cause worse challenges than that, and also that this number, compared to other countries, is actually reasonably lower. At this point, with 82% of recoveries, in some of the provinces, we've gone beyond 90% of recovery, which is very, very positive. And on that point, therefore, it's the right time for us to start considering the steps of what needs to be done as we move through what we call the differentiated approach or risk-adjusted approach towards normality.
Well, and that note, as the minister did note, that South Africa actually has a low death rate compared to other countries, and it's a beautiful one to look at, where it's sitting at a whopping 82% compared to the rest of the country. So we as South Africans are actually following all procedures, and kudos and thank you for that. What do you think about that?
I think it's actually good to actually see. I would say our death rate is lower. We don't know, maybe it means that the healthcare system is on par. They're actually making sure that they are dealing with the COVID-19 cases they faced with, like, good. So I really think it's a good thing to see that our recovery rates are increasing and our death rate are also low. So kudos.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful to consider that we had more than, I think, 1 million grave sites ready, and now looking at South Africans really adhering, working together with the government to actually make sure that COVID-19, we are in a literally a COVID-19 free space when December hopefully hits. I'm hoping that they really find the cure or the antidote to COVID-19 so that we can really commence and live lives like normal.
It's actually beautiful to at the time when we anticipated a peak, and we are seeing low levels. So it's actually beautiful to actually see. We'll see at least something positive to look into.
Yes, Women's Month is bringing the things.
I mean, and
Women's Month, you guys are like ni pink ni bright. We are receiving bright news on that note too.
It really must just continue like that. Moving on to the next story now, the Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane spoke at a media briefing yesterday, where he highlighted that the government is in continuous support of the people in the province. And then he also touched on some of the work that the government has been doing in the different municipalities, which are counseling, psychosocial services and physiotherapy, amongst others. Let's have a look.
We continue providing support to the people of our province according to their needs, such as counseling services, psychosocial services in communities, by our psychosocial response teams we activated in our districts, and trauma intervention support. We provided physiotherapy to our frontline and rendered counseling to workers, conducted trauma briefing sessions for employees. Clinical psychologists provided counseling sessions through the Department of Education, and provided psychosocial support to learners, educators, support staff, and parents of learners. We continue providing social relief of distress support to the people of our province. Recently, we distributed food parcels to a number of our people in a number of municipalities. Together with our social partners, the provincial government is also attending to cases of abuse and cases of neglect in the province. We are working with South African Council of Churches and other religious formations to train church and religious leaders to provide counseling throughout our province.
I love how actually space about partnering with churches to actually now provide counseling services to people, because I feel like at the end of the day, maybe the health system or departments are overwhelmed with so many other cases to be dealing with. So to actually now appoint other people to help with the counseling actually helps. I mean, COVID-19 has hit people really bad, unfortunately, and it actually even now has issues on the mental state of people as well. You know, Abanye lost their loved ones due to COVID-19, and they're probably wondering, how will I move forward from this?
It's a hard one. It's really a hard one when I was thinking about it, that mental illness is something that we people still think of it as a slight, small issue, and it's taking so many lives. And during COVID-19, it was a really drastic case that we had to look at, finding out that our celebrities, our people within our social spaces were talking about it very loudly and saying that it's okay to go through what you're going through, find someone to talk to. And I must admit that I too had that point where I was like, somebody just fill me up, talk to me, because I was in a space where I was like, what is happening? And to only realize that there were people that I could talk to and really have fun with. Yeah,
because it's actually beautiful to actually see the government actually going out and saying, guys, here are the services that we are giving to you, you know, because I think a lot of times in the communities, people don't even know where to go to actually talk about such. And like you said, mental illness is a taboo topic to actually talk about in this community.
Absolutely.
So, and you can't come out and say, actually, I'm not coping.
I have depression.
Exactly. So for them to actually give such platforms out there for people to actually speak out. And in Akona, it's also not just for the community. It's also for the teachers, the people in the education system, also the people, the healthcare workers, because I feel like it's strenuous on them, because even they are dealing with this patient
firsthand.
Exactly.
Firsthand. And I think even with us people, we should like not make counseling to be in a setting, it's an office space and we're talking to someone and what's your problem? It's not that. It's literally finding someone you can talk to and really open up about your issues. It's not some taboo thing where you find someone with a tablet or they're sitting down taking notes. It's really you venting. It's about you talking to someone. So I think also I have to introduce that kind of idea of what it means to talk to someone, that idea of what it means to vent, to talk, to just let yourself, open yourself up like the windows every day in the morning so that you can get more empilweni yakho.
Right, you are so right, because I really feel like people need to start talking about it.
Yes.
I mean, COVID-19 actually hit us hard. None of us actually knew how to actually deal with it, but we'll actually get into that a bit later with the WHO story. You know, that talks about the health, mental health as well, but we'll just get into that a bit later.
And now taking a look at your next story. Minister of Higher Education, Bladen Nzimande, announced that the Department of Higher Education, Science and Innovation hopes to complete the 2020 academic year by the end of February 2021. Nzimande was giving a brief to the nation in Pretoria on Wednesday, and an update of the department's plans and measures that are in place to limit the spread of COVID-19 during lockdown level 2. The minister said the 2021 academic year, with starting dates between 15 March and 15th of April. He said all efforts would be made to ensure that the institution falling behind would not hinder the speed that it gets to interrupt the students and people that are in universities to struggle. So take a look at this clip and we'll talk about it when we get back.
However, we are also quite clear that the rules of good governance and due process must be followed to ensure a judicious outcome in the public interest. The ministry, myself in particular, is well aware of a campaign driven by some commercial interests and some unscrupulous elements who are using a false flag of accusations about supposed sabotage and undue interference by the department to mask their own interests in trying to gang press NSFAS into making shoddy decisions. From afresh on procuring these devices and follow the letter of the law. Government policy is clear that our procurement process must promote an inclusive economy with diverse players, with specific priority given to credible, broad-based black economic enterprises to ensure that we broaden the base of our economy. We also want to say, by the way, DG, to those who are accusing us, that there are things that are unbecoming. they need to give us evidence. And often I want to say this, our experience in government is that
well, on that note, since you guys have seen our Minister of Higher Education, Clayton Zimande, talking to us about universities opening up, I think that universities should actually open up for first-year students and final year, and the rest of them should really just sit home and continue with how they've been doing things, as hard as it is, but we really need to make sure that, because universities is a crowded space.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I feel like the economy is opening up. Harmony. I feel like it's easy though. You have full capacity at Exine, right?
Yeah.
That's a risk on its own. So having to say now, would say other grades can't open or other years can't open, because I really feel like now it's just up to us to just take the necessary precautionary measures with social distancing, sanitizing, washing our hands, and masks. But I really think at the end of the day, life needs to move on and go on, and you can't stay at home forever. So I really think, you know, it needs to open up.
I'm actually proud in saying, I'm looking at you and I'm like, the lady in white has spoken. Amatuma Mina President, you are being tombed.
Yes, we are. And just to cover our last story of the day, and I really think this one is very dear to my heart right now. So the World Health Organization held a virtual question and answer session on mental health and COVID-19, where the Director of Mental Health and Substance Use touched on some of the points on why people have been struggling to cope with the virus and why they've been feeling stressed.
We don't know what is happening. We don't know. We are afraid of getting infected. We are afraid of having of losing somebody, or somebody getting sick next to us, or dying. We have been struggling, many of us, at different moments and in different conditions, with issues of staying at home and issues related to adjust to working from home that has been totally new for most of us. People that have lost their job, or a crisis that we may see coming, economic and social impact and of the current crisis, and how this will have an impact on us. Now, all this is uncertainty. All this is not knowing how how it's going to be tomorrow. There are a number of other issues that I could add to the list as good reasons why we may be feeling stressed or afraid, and are related to many parents having to do schooling at home and not being ever have been trained to do that, and mixing that with working, or of course the issue of health workers in particular.
She further spoke on the consequences that stress of the virus has on families and the healthcare workers, and also on the children who have not been able to go back to school. And here's a clip.
Health workers in particular, and the consequences that stress on their daily life may have in them, in their families. So the list is really long.
There was a lot, and Kestel, that's Kestel then further than answer the question, what if someone is really living on the mental health?
The children not able to go to school and have to find other ways of living a life and trying to understand what is this that is happening out there. Adolescents to go to school, finish their school, find a job, future life, and now they are in between situations.
And now, when she was actually asked on the question, what if someone is already living with mental issues, this is what she had to say.
Is living with a mental health issue, how is it for them to have these extra stresses? What are some things that we would suggest for people in those situations?
Thank you for this question, because those are among some of the groups that are in a more vulnerable situation, vulnerable condition. And what is important is that people with ongoing mental health conditions or other conditions can make sure that they have a routine to keep taking medication if that is the situation, or to continue seeing, visiting maybe virtually or on the phone or in any possible way a therapist if that was the situation. Again, if there were medications, to make sure that there is a stockpile of medication for at least 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so that there is not the anxiety added of running out of that. And try to continue with the indications that you have received if that was the case from your care professional. It is important in any case of people with any kind of mental health condition to have somebody they trust to talk to, whether it is the specialist that has been taking care of them or also a friend, a colleague, a relative, somebody, a family member that could be somebody who could reach out to get to express what's going on and to get some initial help or indications of where to go, how to manage it.
Like we said, COVID-19 has taken a huge toll on people's mental health because we weren't used to being closed up. And
we never expected it. You know when they say we never expected it?
True.
I think it's like the reality of it, that no one really saw it coming. Even finances, people not saved up. And then you hear corruption cases, that stress, number 101, but it's hard. It's really a lot. And I think that we as people, we as the people that bring the news to the people should give them tips on how to really deal with it. Vent, talk, and really find measures around the house where you can exercise, distress, play a ball, do something that allows you to just relax.
And I mean, I think it's actually quite important to actually acknowledge, you know, I'm going through something, because you're not even acknowledging what we are going through the most, but actually acknowledge that you're going through something, and then seek help to actually talk. And like you had said, it does not necessarily have to be a professional, but it could be your friend or any family member that you can actually confide in.
And really talk. I really find the beauty of speaking and talking is really important to a human being. Where you find yourself really speaking about things that irk you, something that you didn't understand, So that on its own is important, to speak to someone, even if it's financial problems, even if it's emotional problems, any problems that you're facing, find someone to confide in. So it could be your son, your daughter, an uncle, your father, your mother, anyone. Even pray if you have to.
I mean, like any form of way to actually get you through this COVID-19 that we're faced with, like do what you must do.
Dala what you must.
Dala what you must. And I guess that's all we had for you right here on the Midday.
Is that it already?
It is. A whole hour gone.
No. Was it an hour? No, guys, no, we cheated. No.
Whole hour. You want 2 hours?
Yeah, can we please?
No, okay, we can try it maybe tomorrow. But catch us right here on the Midday Express on channel 500 on Starset. We also see you there on our Facebook. We really do appreciate you. It is at Galaxy Universal Network and also at gun_TV on Twitter and Instagram. From myself, Rorutsangwana Hatswane, and
from myself, Harmony Mbele. See you guys same time, same place tomorrow on Midday Express. Have a good one. Adios.